Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of My Fun 2018 Career Mode. It's been a while, but we are back here for round number 7 for the Canadian Grand Prix. Now, first of all, I just want to say, guys, a thank you for the support on the MotoGP video yesterday on the return of Career Mode on that. If you haven't seen it, please do check it out by clicking the card in the top right corner of your screen. And also, thank you for the support on the AOR race as well for round 2 at Bahrain. And for those Career Mode people that only want to watch Career Mode, if you did miss the last episode, then do also check that one out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. Now today we are here for the Canadian Grand Prix, and as you saw a moment ago, no rain expected this weekend. And in terms of this race, we don't have any upgrades for the car, but neither do Sauber, which is pretty good. And there's not really any big changes in the pecking order except for Force India there, bringing a pretty big upgrade package along with Haas as well. So all in all, not too bad. And you can see on the top right we've got around 1,800 points, so hopefully we can surpass the 2,000 point mark. We can get some really strong upgrades at the end of this episode going into the next race at Paul Ricard, I believe. So let's try and work towards that and hopefully have a positive race weekend. As you guys know, spoiler alert, if you haven't clicked off the video already, we did Monaco in the last episode and we won the race. It was so dominant, we lapped Charles Leclerc, and we now lead the championship by 25 points, I believe, over Leclerc, and 22 points over Marcus Ericsson. So in some way, shape or form, we know Leclerc had 2 retirements in a row and then he finished outside of the points in Monaco, so basically 3 zeros in a row for Charles Leclerc, and in the process we've overtaken him in the championship. So now it's all about trying to hold on to that lead and trying to develop the car as much as we possibly can over the season and try and keep that cushion of points, because we're now in the European season after this. So those are really strong tracks for me, and it's my strongest part of the season. You know, tracks like Austria, Paul Ricard, Silverstone, Germany, etc. Those are my best tracks. I want to try and make sure we take full advantage of those. Nonetheless, though, jumping into qualifying, you can see my engine status in the bottom right, as we are now on our 7th race with this power unit, and it's seemingly performing okay still, which is pretty good to see. And we'll get a new engine in for the next race after this episode. But straight away, you can see my first one here in qualifying. It was a pretty decent bank lap, and a few mistakes here and there, but still a good reference point as we go P2, just a fraction off Charles Leclerc with the purple final sector on my opening attempt. But now we're going to ride on board for my second lap, which was my best effort of the session, and we're going to ride on board for the entire lap here of the Circuit de Gilles doing here at Canada. Straight away, overtake ERS deployed on the pit straight to maximise straight line speed. We brake for turn 1, really attacking the inside curb, and then keep the car nice and tight if possible on turn 2, and then open it up right at the end, let the throttle come through, don't wheel spin the rears, and now into the right and left of the first of 3 chicanes around the circuit for 3 and 4, and now flat out through the long right, and now into 6 and 7, a left right chicane once again here, and we kind of run a little bit wide on the left. We still keep it relatively okay, but we've lost a little bit of time relative to our previous attempt. But this next chicane is where I lost a lot of time on my first run, so this time we're going to keep a very tight line through the first right and open up the left, and we get a great exit there, and we find a couple of tenths of a second pretty much as we race down towards the hairpin, braking bang on the 100-meter board down to first gear actually to really pick up that rotation on the front end of the car. Power down, traction absolutely perfect on the exit, and now you wait for DRS to become available using some overtake ERS, as you can actually lean on that quite a bit around this circuit. And now you look for around the 50-meter board for the turning point for the final chicane here, and the Wall of Champions is right up on you on the right hand side. Then be careful to not hit it, and we get pretty much a perfect chicane as we open up DRS and run up to the line, and we do go fastest of everybody there, and it's currently a 1-2 for Ferrari. However, reality would strike and Sauber would find some more pace, and Leclerc would go fastest. Ericsson is currently second, and Leclerc's best lap is currently a 105.0, and we need to find half a second. And to be fair, this final attempt I was doing really, really well, and it was pretty much the perfect lap, and we found even more time at the chicane, but we found time at the chicane at the benefit, or at the cost more like, of a corner cut, as you can see there. So a bit disappointing because we ruined it right at the end. That was definitely 2 tenths of a second, on a perfect lap, which we pretty much had there, and it could have maybe given us second place on a better day. We could have had a front row start. Instead, though, we're going to settle for P4 as Vettel actually improved right towards the end as well, and he managed to beat me for 3rd place. So it's a Sauber front row with a Ferrari second row, and we did our best, but ultimately we ruined it on our final attempt, which is disappointing, to be honest. But the pace is there, the car feels good, and I think we should be able to compete tomorrow, at least with Ericsson. I'm not sure about Leclerc. We'll have to wait and see. It also depends what start people get on lap 1. But with that being said, that is it for qualifying here at Canada, and we now move into the race on Sunday for round number 7 of season 7 for the Canadian Grand Prix. And fingers crossed we could try and score a decent result and keep our points lead in the championship. It's race time.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about Martinez. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, with Marcus Ericsson alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Martinez, Fernando Alonso, and Sainz, Hülkenberg, Perez, Van Dorn, and Esteban Ocon, Grosjean, Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas, Pierre Gasly, and Lance Stroll. Hartley and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, then here we are on the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix round 7, and we start from P4 alongside our teammate Sebastian Vettel. Both of the Saubers lead the way here on the front row, and can we try and get a bit of a start a la I think 2005, when both of the Renaults got an incredible start in that race, and they were really far back, and even though it's a short run to the first corner, you can get past multiple cars. We need to hope for a little bit of that, and hopefully not lose any places. I'm going to try and be aggressive on the opening lap, especially I'm kind of hoping Ericsson doesn't have a poor start and he can actually get the jump on Leclerc realistically, and if anyone's going to get poor start out of the top 4, hopefully it's Charles Leclerc. In terms of the strategy today, it's a 2-stop race, potential 1-stop, maybe straight onto the super softs. I'm going to see how long I can take the hyper softs into the race and then pretty much judge it, round about lap 8 to 10 pretty much. But for now, we're kind of committing to the 2-stop strategy here. Fuel wise, we're running 1.5 laps extra, pretty much what I always run, and the task is simple. Minimum a podium, and if we can try and win the race, that'd be fantastic, and we're going to see how it goes. It's time for round 7 for the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's get right into it. Right, here we go. Let's get ready for the 5 red lights, get the revs into the sweet spot. The lights are on, and they are off, and away we go. Decent start actually, we managed to match Sebastian. We're going to have to just sit on the outside though, and let Vettel take the racing line, as Alonso tries to go around my outside here, but we're going to stop him from doing that, as no one in the front 4 changed positions. I was thinking about going to the inside of turn 1 of my teammate, but you know what, I'm not going to be too aggressive because it is my teammate. Only if I had the opportunity to get past one of the Saubers would I have absolutely bombed it down the inside, but that wasn't the case, so we're all going to continue on here in our original position. If we can't win the race, then I'll settle for second, because I do realise Leclerc is going to be quite fast here today, especially. It's going to be tricky to match him, especially on pace, I think, based off the qualifying. So even if I get P2 and damage limitate with just a 7-point deficit for this race, I don't mind that. But of course I want to try and win. So let's take it lap by lap and see how things go as we get a little bit hot into the hairpin. That's going to allow Alonso the momentary look down the inside, but nothing comes from it. And looks like we're able to stay in front. I'm looking forward to seeing how the car performs. ERS is super efficient on this car now, so I can really use it if I need to. Fuel as well is pretty good, so this Ferrari car really does run things quite nicely. It's very efficient, so I can definitely push the limits, which is great. But lap 1 draws to a close. Leclerc set the pace already, and we're not too far behind here, so that's okay. Now we've got to try and start to find that mojo, find our pace a little bit, and start to really close up to these guys. Leclerc set the pace, 108.0. We're a whole second off that as the RS is now enabled on lap 3. Front 3 have good pace at the minute. I'm not quite there yet for pace. I'm struggling. I'm starting to open up a little bit of gap to Alonso, but we can't really match our teammate or Ericsson just yet. But hopefully the confidence will come. I'm also not leaning on these tyres too heavily because I want to try and go long on the first stint, to really give myself the best possible strategy options. Okay, that was a stronger lap into the 108s and closing into Vettel. Somehow I didn't have the RS on the straight there, but Ericsson's starting to form a bit of a train here. Alonso's kind of bringing up the rear. But we've kept up. We're starting to find our pace now a little bit, and we're starting to get a little bit racy now. Leclerc still absolutely flying away out front. He's got incredible pace early on, but we're starting to come into this race a little bit now. Okay, this time we are within range of Sebastian Vettel. To be fair, he hasn't got much of a run. I dare say he might have DRS. Okay, he's still got DRS on Ericsson just, but Ericsson is picking up the pace here. I've got some incredible straight line speed here, 350 k's on the back straight. I could do almost 360 in qualifying, but look at this. We've got the run on Vettel here through the chicane, and I think this could be the one. We're going to try and go to the left hand side of my teammate into turn 1, late on the brakes. There we go, job done with a personal best in the process. Very nice move, keeping it nice and clean. Vettel leaves me the room. So we're past Sebastian Vettel. Now we've got to try and chase after Marcus Ericsson. Let's try and not drop out of his DRS preferably. At the minute the pace is very strong. Ericsson's picked up the pace. Leclerc's still going strong. Vettel's holding on, and he's trying to stay in front of Alonso here, but I'm really struggling to get back within a second of Marcus Ericsson as we pick up our first track exemption in the Grand Prix through the chicane. As Vettel and Alonso now begin to battle, and Alonso actually getting past my teammate. We're just outside of a second here from Ericsson. I can't really close down the gap at the minute. Okay, interestingly enough, I think Leclerc is pitting in. Yes, he has. So Leclerc in the pit lane. It's an early stop, so is he going to go aggressive and go for another set of hypersofts? We shall find out.
Sebastian is in the pits.
Yep, Vettel in the pit lane, but we shall find out if he goes for another set of hypers. And I'm going to see what Vettel does as well. Strategy-wise, that's quite interesting because that wasn't recommended to me, so I'm curious to see what happens. Now, we're on lap 8, which is my scheduled pit stop lap, so it's either make or break time. I just looked at my tyres, and they're around 30% water and 35%, so it's still very manageable, and I reckon a one-stopper is possible here, so I'm not going to commit to anything just yet. I reckon we can still make something work here. As expected, Ericsson pits in. That was my scheduled pit stop lap. I'm going to stay out for a couple more here. Tyres look okay. It's just my rear is a little bit more worn, but still very much manageable. I'm going to run a couple laps in rich mix and try and burn off a little bit of excess fuel. Try and lighten the car up a little bit. I think I'm going to go for the one stop. I'm going to risk it. Leclerc's 10 seconds behind. He's on the fresh ultras, making pretty good, good lap times, but we've still got a 10-second cushion, and let's see if he even does a 2-stop. He might even 3-stop. So I'm not going to rush into things here. I'm happy to let SAUBERS chase me, and I can try and defend. So we're going to try and go for the one stop. We're going to try and get to lap 12, and then pit in for the super soft tyres. Right, so here we go, lap 12. We've now got to do 23 laps on the super softs, which should be pretty doable. Into the pit lane, there we go. Pretty safe, not going to speed too much. And we've got pretty much two SAUBERS to battle against, Leclerc and Ericsson here today. There we go, nice quick stop, 2.4. And yeah, we're battling both SAUBERS. Realistically now, we've got about a 6-second gap to Leclerc to try and maintain on these tyres until he pits. If we do lose that, then we're going to be battling Ericsson here today, which is a lot more achievable. We've come out relatively clean there. The only problem is Grosjean, but that's fine. That's not too bad. It's only one car. If I can get onto the back of it and come into the lap, then that'd be great. Now we've got to try and switch these tyres on and try and get after Grosjean. So let's do that. But we've still got plenty of race to go, so pick up my second track extension of the race. Let's try and win this race here today. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to give it a go, and if not, P2 will have to do. Not the best hairpin you'll ever see, but we do get a strong exit. Very, very messy hairpin, to be fair. Dare I say, I might not be close enough on this straight to attack Grosjean. Here we go, we're gaining on the Haas. But it's not going to be enough, I don't think. Grosjean does go defensive. We're going to have to sit back for now. Grosjean, very defensive, very slow, costing me a lot of time there. But here we go, we've got a drag race. He's got no DRS. We're going to pull to the inside, and this should be a fairly straightforward move. Down the inside of the Haas, there we go. Similar to the one on Sebastian Vettel. Job done. Back at the P3, and now we've got to try and crack on with this and try and make some decent laps on these tyres. So we're going to keep it in rich mix for now, and also run hot lap mode and set a couple of strong laps and try and keep our time advantage over Charles Leclerc preferably. Personal best. That's good pace. That's a strong lap to counteract the time we lost behind Grosjean. Now we've got to try and stay consistent. I want to keep it in neutral engine modes now. The only thing I'm going to use is maybe a little bit of DRS on the back straight, but other than that, I'm going to keep it neutral now. I want to keep this extra fuel for later on in case we need it. And hopefully I've got enough pace in standard engine mode to keep Leclerc behind, hopefully once the pit stops occur. At the minute, the gap is going up slightly. Ericsson's pulling away, and I'm presuming obviously Leclerc's going to be doing the same thing. The SAUBERS are a little bit quicker than me at the minute, and I'm struggling to match their pace. Even though I'm on the fresh rubber, the super softs are just much faster, and also the SAUBERS seem to be a little bit quicker than what I can do regardless of tyre at the minute. They just seem to have the pace. So I'm trying my best here to find this kind of losing battle and I still think I've got the advantage over Leclerc, but it's going to be mightily close after the pit stops. Personal best, just starting to pick up the pace a little bit here, and we just start to shave the gap down to Ericsson. Seems like the Ultras now are just starting to lose a bit of performance, and we're starting to find a little bit of performance now on the super softs. I've also dipped back into the extra fuel reserves as we've saved a little bit of fuel now, so I can once again start to push and now maintain the gap if possible. Okay, there we go, they're closing the pit lane. We are going to stay in front, which is good, which is what I expected as we pretty much match our personal best. Leclerc's leaving the pit lane now, so it's going to be close, but we are still in front, which is crucial. And he's actually on super softs, Leclerc, so Leclerc's on the same tyre as me. Of course, it's going to be a lot younger of a tyre compared to mine, but crucially, we're on the same rubber, so the performance difference won't be massive. And I've got the gap at the minute, so let's try and keep it. Although it is only just 1.8 seconds, it's going to be much more manageable when knowing he's on the super soft instead of on the ultra soft. That's good news. Marcus Ericsson stays out, so is Ericsson going to be the one that rolls the dice and potentially goes for the ultra soft rubber? I guess we shall find out very soon. Leclerc's already closing me down here, 1.3 the gap, and that was my strongest sector through the final sector, so he's going to be on me soon. I'm curious to see what Ericsson does now. Could he be the wild card here? Maybe gone to the ultra soft rubber in the final stint. Okay, Leclerc's within range. Let's see what the Sauber's like for straight line speed. Looks okay. He's going to gain on me quite a bit, but it's not going to be enough. I'm able to stay in front, at least for now, on that back straight. Got to be careful though. One more extension, and we've got a penalty coming our way. There's Ericsson now. I think he's gone for another set of ultras. We set a personal best. Leclerc sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, so not much we can do there, but Ericsson has gone for the ultra soft tyres, so he might come into this race right towards the end. So contra strategies, I'm surprised Leclerc didn't go for that. He's normally very aggressive on tyre choice, so let's see how this one pans out. One thing's for certain, my super softs are going to be a lot more worn out than Leclerc's coming into the Grand Prix. And to be honest with you, this is the AI's strongest part of the track, this traction zone here through the corner, and Leclerc's going to be on me straight away. Can we defend? No, we can't. Leclerc gets it. How much we could have done there. Too much speed. However, if I can stay within range, I can get him back on the straight. Although I think he might have DRS off of Brendan Hartley, which is a little bit annoying. Let's try and get a good exit here if we can. Nice clean exit. There we go. Oh, look at that acceleration. Ooh. Oh boy, that Sauber's fast still. That car is still very fast, and he does have DRS off of Hartley there. Will Hartley move out of the way? Come on, Brendan. Stay to one side, pal. Oh, I'm a little bit hot on the brakes and need to straighten her up. Leclerc has DRS once again. That's a shame, because if he didn't, I could have maybe had a chance there. Let's try and stick with Leclerc though. You never know. If we don't give up, stay within DRS, we might have a chance of still getting back past. We've also got that Williams there for traffic. Leclerc's absolutely on it. He's way too quick for me to even contest with. He's got incredible pace. I'm trying to hold on here, but I think he's officially broken the DRS. He's going to get DRS again off of the Williams there onto the back straight, which is really annoying. I think I might have just got some DRS off of Sirotkin though. We shall see. Sirotkin moves to one side. Did I get DRS? Let's find out. Sirotkin, nope, nothing there. So Leclerc's got DRS, I don't. And that is pretty much the win gone now. So we're now battling here to try and hopefully keep Marcus Ericsson on ultra softs behind me. So that's going to be another challenge in itself. And we've still got lots of laps in this race, 11 laps to go. This is going to be a challenge here to try and get a second place in this race, but I'm going to keep trying and sticking with it. Quite a bit of traffic here. Leclerc's kind of getting caught up in it a little bit. So he's losing a little bit of time, but ultimately not much, I don't think. I'm going to try and nab some DRS off of Lance Stroll here if I can. Verstappen's slow. That's going to give me DRS 100%. Now we're going to get a tow. We just have Verstappen there. Very lucky to not lose his front wing. On the power, oof, that's a bit of a close one there with Verstappen, but we have got DRS, so that's good. Ericsson's also getting through traffic at the minute. I need this Williams of Stroll to move out the way, preferably. Hopefully, after the chicane, he does pull over to one side. There we go, beautiful run through the chicane, and we carry the speed. We close the gap to Leclerc slightly. Just I'm giving up on him, but we stay within range, so there is a mistake. We can capitalise on it. Managed to get DRS off of Gasly there as well. So we're doing pretty good with the lap cars. Just hope Gasly doesn't pull over now. This is going to be a really bad time. Oh my god, he's realised. Please don't. There we go. Just don't cost me time. Thank you very much. I thought he was going to absolutely pull over on the apex there. Luckily though, no time lost, which is good. Ericsson now just on the cusp of DRS, 1.3 seconds. I think it's inevitable. I'm going to try my best to stay in front, but with 6 laps to go, and knowing how the Saubers always get faster at the end of the Grand Prix, they always set fastest laps at the end of the race. It's going to be a real challenge this to keep that Sauber behind, considering how easy it was for Leclerc to get past on the same tyres as me. Okay, Ericsson's within range here. I didn't have the best eggs there, got quite a bit of wheel spin. Here comes Marcus Ericsson. We're going to have to go defensive to the inside. Can we hold on to the inside line? Yes, we do. I'm going to just hold on for the first time. Had to go late on the brakes there, but we managed to stay in front of Marcus Ericsson, which is good. How much longer can we hold on? This is the bad one. Oh my god, he's already, look at that, he's already got down the inside. Before I even look back. He's one deep though. Oh, that's close, but we're going to hold on. Ericsson outbroke himself there. And they're getting a chance to come back. Yellow flag at the hairpin, so no way can Ericsson re-overtake. Down the inside again, we've got a slow-moving car. It's a Haas who's pulled over. It's Kevin Magnussen there.
Okay, some information on Magnussen. They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Okay, so we're standing in front of Ericsson then for now because he's nowhere near me on this straight. So somehow we're holding on here. We've managed to survive a whole lap of a Marcus Ericsson attacking the overpowered Sauber. Okay, this is going to be the one. Can we survive a second time on this straight? We don't get the best exit. I'm struggling on my rears, and again Ericsson's down the inside. I'm going to let him have it. This time he doesn't outbrake himself. But lucky to not extend there. Here we go. We're going to stay within range of the Sauber. If I can just have a good hairpin. He hasn't got DRS. Unlike Leclerc before, who had a DRS on a lap car. Ericsson doesn't have DRS on anybody here, so let's try and get close. It's good acceleration though from the Sauber, I have to say. And I think it's too far away on this straight, but maybe if we get the run for the chicane here. Carry the speed. That's what I'm talking about right there. A little bit compromised. I had to back out a little bit more than I would have liked. We are gaining though on Ericsson. Oh, I just can't quite do it. He's too good on the brakes. We're going to have to concede that one. That would have been a rash move if I just lunged in there. I probably would have actually ended up spinning a la Vettel 2018. So just had to back out, to be honest. I couldn't really brake much later than that, to be honest. I was kind of on the limit already for brakes. So Ericsson gets the job done. And we're going to have to set off a P3 in this race, I think, which is still good. I mean, I said I wanted a podium minimum, and we've got that, but a shame. But the Saubers ultimately just seem to be too quick here today. Couldn't really do nothing about it, couldn't really respond, so no complaints on my end. They were too strong today. I've managed to set 2 personal bests in a row and somehow stay within more or less of a second of Ericsson, but I'm just struggling on my rears though, I really am. I don't have enough rear tyres to really make a challenge, otherwise I could maybe try and re-challenge Ericsson, but this is the part where normally when the Sauber starts to speed up, and we're going to see if that's the case or not. There we go then, Charles Leclerc wins in style, picking up the fast up at the end of the race. We're going to come through the chicane though, and we're going to pick up a very solid podium, and the best we could have done here today, Ericsson P2, and that's all we could have done really. The pace just wasn't there, to be honest, and I'm just happy to score a podium and get another consistent result. We go again in Paul Ricard. Let's get into it.
A great win then for the Sauber team today. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
So, here they come out now onto the podium after a thrilling Grand Prix. It just goes to show what a strong position the sport is in, that these independent teams can be so competitive. What a superb victory from the Sauber team.
Right, so looking at the final race results, Charles Leclerc wins the Canadian Grand Prix ahead of Marcus Ericsson. We come home P3, rounding off the podium, and the best we could have done, to be honest. Fernando Alonso P4, Romain Grosjean P5, good performance from him along with Daniel Ricciardo in P6. Carlos Sainz P7 for the first of the Renaults. My teammate Sebastian Vettel on a 2-stop strategy, having a pretty poor race and only 8th place. Sergio Perez and Nico Hülkenberg round off the points scoring positions. You kind of, you look at the lap times, it kind of says a story, as the Saubers are the only cars able to go into the 107s in terms of race pace. But in terms of the rest of the finishers, we've got Ocon, Van Dorn, Hamilton, Verstappen, Gasly, Stroll, Sirotkin, Bottas, Hartley, all finishing and pretty much outside the points, and some of them are lapped down, and Kevin Magnussen with that retirement right at the end of the Grand Prix. But in terms of what the race means for the Drivers' Championship, Leclerc jumps back into second place, and he cuts the lead down to 15 points. Ericsson stays in third, and he's still 19 points behind, so it's a three-way scrap at the minute for the championship. And Kevin Magnussen, he's still holding on to P4. He won at Baku, and even with that DNF, he's still fourth in the championship, so fair play to him. Sebastian Vettel still outside of the top 10, and 7 races in, he's starting to struggle to score some points here, considering where I am in the championship. So Vettel needs to get his act together and try and score a few more points. But in terms of the constructors, we are currently second, and we've lost a bit of ground to Sauber, unfortunately. And with their 1-2 finish, they score a big haul of points, and we are 54 points adrift of the Sauber team. And Haas are currently 16 points behind us. So yeah, pretty much no big changes except for Renault overtaking Mercedes. But with that being said, it's now time to jump into the laptop, because we've got over 2,000 points to spend, and I've been waiting. We didn't do any upgrades for this race, but you sure hells can bet we're going to have some big upgrades in the car for the next race in Paul Ricard, and also for Austria potentially. So let's jump into it, and let's get into the laptop.
Another podium. You must be getting used to it up there. Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing. You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip? Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, so here we are then on the R&D screen. We have 2,300 points to spend, so we can really go in here and really make some big improvements to the car. Kind of similar to what we did for the Spanish Grand Prix, to be honest. So let's see what we can do. Now, straight away, in the aerodynamics, we are the third best team in terms of aero, and then in terms of the chassis, we're also third, whereas in the engine, we're actually second. So dare I say, we want to prioritise chassis and aero realistically. Also, looking at the bottom of the chart there, you can see at the bottom of the screen, aero is strong. The engine's actually quite weak compared to the other two parts, but relative to the rest of the grid, we need to improve. So what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to get a weight reduction upgrade here for the car, which should get us pretty close to Red Bull. Now we're going to go for one in the aerodynamics, which is going to be for the rear downforce. A very cheap one, to be fair, 286 points. We'll get that on straight away. And I'm going to get one for the engine as well, so at least we've got an upgrade for every department. Now there's one for fuel consumption, there's one for engine power, and there's one for ERS to max out the ERS. Now, to be honest with you, I want more engine power, I want more juice, so we're going to go for that engine power upgrade and get that on the car. And also, that's with Austria in mind as well. And now we've got 1,000 points left to spend on another upgrade. And I think it's going to be the chassis, and it's going to be weight redistribution for the plank, because that way we can become the second best team in the chassis department. So we're going to get that on as well. And we still have enough for one more, so let's see if we can sneak in one more aerodynamic one, and we can. So we are going to go for an aero upgrade, and it's going to be, I'm going to go towards the rear of the car, which is a little bit more expensive, and we're going to get that on for the next race. So there you go, a flurry of upgrades, guys, and you can see in the top right, that's going to really close the gap to Sauber quite a bit. Even, regardless of the upgrades that Sauber bring, that's a massive upgrade package for us, and we're actually going to count that again. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 5 upgrades for the next race. So yeah, guys, please do tune in for that one, as we'll also have a brand new fresh engine for the next race to go with it. So we should be competitive, hopefully, at Paul Ricard, fingers crossed, depending on what upgrades Sauber bring. But if you guys did enjoy this episode of Career Mode, then please do drop a like on the video. Also get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content, and turn notifications to not miss a single video from me. And finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Let's see my next episode very soon. But until then, it's a goodbye from me.